Hey YouTube, what's going on? Today we have a video covering the Wurkkos FC12 with the new updated user interface. Now this flashlight's been around for quite a while. It's a pretty popular light. It's often recommended online as a budget tail switch option. So basically the only new difference is the fact that it's got an updated user interface, so we'll take a look at that. We'll try to keep this video as short and sweet as possible so we can move on to further videos with comparisons to other lights, which I think is the main thing that you guys are looking for. So looking at this Wurkkos FC12, it does come in 3 different colors. It comes in black, purple, and as you can see in this gunmetal gray. I'm a big fan of this gray color. Okay. And all 3 options are available on Amazon and Wurkkos. So on Amazon, this runs right around $39 to $40. And on Wurkkos, this runs $26. So $26, this is a very budget-friendly light. Size is 5.37 inches long, or 136.5 millimeters, and it's 0.94 inch diameter, or 24 millimeters for that head diameter. And it weighs about 3 ounces without the battery. So looking at the output, we have an eco mode, a low mode, a medium mode, and a high mode. And then we have the turbo and strobe mode. So on eco, we have 1 lumen, which runs for a total of 230 hours. A low mode, which runs 80 lumens at 21 hours. The medium mode, which runs 300 lumens at 7.5 hours. The high mode runs 800 lumens at 3.5 hours. And to note the high and the turbo modes, where high has 13,000 candela, and the turbo and strobe mode are both 2,000 lumens, 2.5 hour runtime, and of course that's with step down, and that is 29,000 candela. So the difference between high and turbo there is 13,000 candela and 29,000 candela. And of course, with any type of tactical or self-defense light, candela is very important. So it's very important that you have quick access to that turbo, because as you can see, high is not enough at 13,000 candela. You want that 29,000 candela. So some things to note on this right away. This has a very deep, smooth reflector for the SFT40 that's in it. That's the emitters in SFT40. In my opinion, is the best emitter that you could put in a tactical style light. It is USB-C recharging. It's got a 2-way pocket clip. Additionally, it's got an 18650 battery, and it's got a battery indicator. So anytime that you turn the light on, that will pop up with a light on the battery indicator. So for green, that's 70% and plus, so anywhere between 70 to 100%. If it's flashing green, it's anywhere from 40 to 69%. And if it's red, it's 10 to 39%. And then blinking red is anything under 10%, so definitely need to charge that. And then of course it's got an updated user interface, which now has 2 groups on it. So that's what we're going to look at today, is the user interface and what makes this different. So basically, before, you had your user interface that was still easy to get around and use, but now what they've done is they've made a second group for the user interface that that Wurkkos feels is more tactical friendly or more self-defense friendly. So in order to call this a tactical light, they feel that second group really benefits this. So what we have here is side switch does nothing from off. So that means your on and off is completely used from your tail switch, okay? So with that said, once you turn the light on, that means if you use the tail switch again, it's going to turn it back off. So once you turn it on, you cycle through your modes by clicking that side switch. Now, also, we're just in group 1 right now, so this is your basic group that the light comes in. So what happens is you click that one time to turn it on, and then as we said, you cycle through the modes. So that's low, medium, and high. Low, medium, high. And then you can double click for turbo, or single click to get back out of turbo. Also, you can 1, 2, 3 triple click for strobe, and single click to get back out of strobe. Now, in group 1, when the light is off, if you do a half press and then a full press, you can go straight directly into turbo. So instead of just full pressing and going back to whatever the last low, medium, high that you were in, half press and full click, direct to turbo. or half press. If you half press and then half press again, but hold that half press, you can momentary the turbo. Additionally, it's kind of the same thing, but with eco, instead of doing it with the tail switch, if you hold down the side switch and then click that tail switch, you have now access to an eco mode that's not in your normal cycle of low, medium, and high. So as you can see, that's a very low eco mode, 1 lumen. Also, if you hold it down and then just hold down the tail switch while you're doing it, you can get a momentary eco. So I'd say that Group 1 is pretty good, and it's plenty, it's definitely enough to be considered a tactical light with that user interface and what you're able to do with it. Also, when you're in strobe mode, if you double click, and I'm not going to go back into the strobe mode right now, but when you double click in strobe mode, you can cycle through 3 different strobes by double clicking, which is SOS, let's see, strobe, SOS, and beacon, and then you can single click to leave the strobes. All right, so Group 2. So what happens here is you can switch between Group 1 and Group 2. So in order to do that, when the light is on, so we're going to turn it on. If you hold down this side switch for about 3 seconds, you then switch between Group 1 and Group 2. And so you know you're in each one because when you hold down the side switch for 3 seconds, it'll double flash. If it double flashes and goes immediately into eco mode, you're in Group 1. If it double flashes and immediately goes into turbo mode, you're in Group 2, which is tactical mode. So we're going to hold it down. And see that? How it went straight into tactical. Because it went into that turbo mode. So now we're in Group 2. So what we can do here is on the tail switch, how previously in Group 1, if you did a half and a full or a half and a half, you went to turbo. Now it goes directly into strobe mode. Additionally, with Group 2, when it's on, and see how it went directly to turbo? So this time, you go directly into turbo, or you can do the double click to go into strobe. And then if you try to cycle through, you can cut down to your medium if you don't want that. So you can go into turbo and then switch between medium and turbo. Also, if you double click from side switch, right back to strobe mode. Okay? And so like I said, and then you only have medium and turbo on those modes. So now I'm going to switch it back to Group 1 for just regular setting, and you'll see that it'll flash and go into eco. Or maybe it went into low. Well, let's see. Yep, so we're in Group 1. Okay, so low, medium, high. All right. Yep, okay. So Group 1. So as you can see, they've added a Group 2 to really make this more friendly for anybody that's using this as a self-defense light, using this as a, if you're a police officer, military security, whatever, this light is more friendly now to be able to put this in Group 2 and have instant access to turbo, but also instant access to strobe at the same time. And you can leave it like that, but then also when you turn the light on, if you want something a little less, you can switch it over to medium mode pretty easily. Or you can leave it in Group 1 and have some just the generic settings that it's been using this whole time. And like I said, it's already a very popular light just from the user interface of Group 1. But now they've added that second group. So that's really the big change here. So as far as, let's look at pros and cons real quick. Pros, I'd say the color is amazing. And then you got 3 good color options. Additionally, the tube and the grip. It's got a nice grip to it. It doesn't feel, even though it looks pokey, it doesn't feel abrasive or anything like that in your hands. It feels good. They're not sharp or anything. Their points are rounded. So it's comfortable. Also, I really like the user interface and the fact that you have both options if you want them. The SFT40, like I said, that's the perfect emitter to put in it. It does a great job in this light. I like the two-way clip on this. Also, I really like the price, $26. That's a great price for this light. And additionally, this side button is really easy to click and really easy to use. And one last thing to note, because I have seen it said on many videos that the Wurkkos FC12 cannot tail stand. As you can see, it's tail standing without issue. It does tail stand just fine. Okay, and as far as cons, it's got two main cons for me, and that is because they are now, especially with the second group added, they are marketing this as a tactical light for sure. So with that said, it should have some kind of bezel. It can be anything. It can be small. It can be the little grooves like what the let's see, the Sofern SP35T has, you know, the smooth grooves, or it could be like the little rectangle blocks like the TS22 has. I really don't care. It could have the little serrated pokes like what the SC32 and then the Warrior 3S has, but it needs some kind of bezel on there. And additionally, this tail switch is, I don't want to say terrible, but it's bad because it's got a ton of dead space. It's got a small point here that protrudes a ton right in the middle, so you really feel that poking in the middle, and then you have dead space. I'm pressing down on both sides there and you're getting no light. You really got to get the center when you click it, and that's not always easy to do in high adrenaline situations. Sometimes you might accidentally click it from the side, and sometimes you get it and sometimes you won't. You know? So this is a bad tail switch, just being honest here. So here's what I have next. I have some suggestions for what Wurkkos can do for a future light. And I know that they just released the Wurkkos TD02, and that is a tail switch only option, and it's kind of marketed as a even more tactical version than just the FC12. That's if you don't want the side switch. It's got the ability to switch between two groups as well, but instead of going between tail switch and side switch, there's a little ring here to switch between regular and tactical, and you just move it back and forth. So that's pretty neat actually, but it's using an SST40 emitter and other things. I don't want to get too deep into a comparison right here and now, but my point is they do have another tactical light that's available in the 18650 series. So I think they've got 18650 covered with the FC12 and the TD02. My recommendations for Wurkkos is that Sofern's already taken advantage of it, and I think that Wurkkos should as well take advantage of a 21700 tactical light. So here's just some suggestions that I'm going to add on to this video. I'm going to send this video to Wurkkos, and hopefully they're able to receive the suggestions. So basically, you can use either this tube, which is great. Most of your customers are familiar with it, or you can use your tube that you're using for the TD02. And as far as what I'm saying here is I'm saying use the same style of tube. Obviously, it needs to be bigger to fit a 21700 battery. Either way, use this or use the TD02 style tube. And as far as user interface, I'd highly recommend, if you can, go with that ring. Go with that switch that you put on the tail, even if it's a 2-button option. So what you can do is switch between normal and tactical, but if not, if it's just like this user interface is great too. But basically, just put this in a 21700 version, add a bezel, and put a better button on here. You can put the same button that Sofern's using on the SP35T, and it will be great. That button is a great button. Or you can go with a metal button. Either way would be great, but if you're really going to be considered a tactical light, you should not have to worry about if you end up missing some of the button in a high adrenaline situation. So upgrade this button, Wurkkos, put this in a 21700 tube, and add a bezel, and I really think you've got a great light on your hands. So what we'll do next is we'll go out and look at beam shots, but I ask that you please stay tuned for my channel, because here within the next week I'm going to be posting videos of comparisons, and I think that that's really where we're going to be able to see this versus some other tactical lights in the 18650 lineup and also in the 21700 lineup, to really see how this stacks up and if this new user interface makes it worth it to purchase over other lights. Thanks for watching. Okay, so here we have the Wurkkos FC12. We're going to start off on low mode and see how nice it is to be able to find where to hit the button in the dark with that green light up. And as you can see, it's already got a really nice hot spot and good spill. Medium, high, turbo, and then back to low, medium, high.